Not really, but I seen like Carti like 2 months ago with Nick Holiday, and he was just like, "What up, twin?" And I really wanted to throw up YVL, but I was like, maybe I shouldn't.
Yo, what's up, guys? Just want to say that this video is powered by DistroKid. Let's get it. What's going on, guys? You're watching KTL right now. Really special interview and chilling in New York with my guy Aminé. What's up?
How you doing?
Good, man. Good. It's a nice sunny day outside. How's your trip in New York been so far?
It's been good. I got in last night, so
Ooh.
I'm kind of running off in no sleep because we just did a release show in LA, and it was turned up.
I will say, you know, there's so much music to talk about, like new music and stuff.
Yeah.
But I just got to start off by saying I think your style is hella like, you just got the flyest fits.
Oh, I appreciate that, man.
And I'll say that because I think it's like you and Yachty, I feel like, are the people that I saw on IG where I'm like, you know, I should start rocking a bit more color.
Yeah,
you know?
Yeah.
Because that's like a big part of your style is like bright colors.
Yeah. I mean, I just like to just put on shit that doesn't feel too gothy for me. I'm not really. I like to wear color a lot.
Yeah.
I feel like when there isn't color, I'm just kind of like depressed.
Yeah, no, I feel you.
But I don't know. For me, my sister styles a lot of my shit too. So her and me together have been just kind of piecing fits together for this rollout and just stuff. And
yeah, no, I feel that. Like I said, I do want to talk about music and all that, but it's funny because I feel like we both have like a similar kind of come up in the sense where we both wanted to work at Complex, except you actually did it. Tell me about that. Like, what actually led you to being a journalist in the beginning? Because obviously that's not what you are now.
yeah, I wasn't even a journalist, bro. I was really just getting people like sandwiches and coffees and just kind of doing the bullshit that no one else wanted to do. But my only plan with that shit when I was there was I was working there for a summer. I was sleeping on my aunt's couch. It's kind of what I talk about on New Flower, like the first record of the new album.
Yeah.
And I was just doing it just to see if I had a backup plan for rap. I'm African heritage, so like my father always says, you gotta have a backup plan with everything. So I didn't really know if like music would work out for me. So I was just kind of preparing myself for that and not trying to live in the clouds.
You said you were like getting sandwiches and things like that, and I know on the album you mentioned like you weren't getting paid that much as well.
Nah, I was getting paid in Subway cards, bro.
Oh, no way.
That was the era when you could not pay an intern,
Right.
which was a fucked up era, but
Yeah.
it was good.
Damn. I mean, so you're saying music wasn't really working out. Like, I'm sure you put out a bunch of songs. Like, were they just not performing like at that time? And did you tell the Complex people like, yo, by the way, I make music?
Dude, yeah, I did tell the Complex people I made music, and one of the journalists like tried to out me about it and was like, yo, he's interning here, but he makes music. I think we should fire him. And I was just kind of like, man, that's fucked up. But
Yeah.
my Dana Droppo, who I used to work for at Complex, kind of saw it and ignored that shit and let me keep working there, which is, shout out to
That's
her,
real,
which is
yeah.
fire. And yeah, I don't know. I just kind of made it work, I guess,
Yeah.
you know?
What did you learn about that experience, like working an actual job, especially like, I guess you could say in music,
Yeah.
that you kind of like applied later on to your career?
I don't know, work ethic and like being on time. And I've seen like a lot of artists show up late to Complex or show up late to this and that. And I think that like, you know, your impression like really matters when you show up to places and how you carry yourself with your team and all that stuff. I think we kind of, as artists, we get caught up in thinking that, you know, we the shit and everything revolves around us in some sort of way, but not actually. Like everybody's kind of on the same playing field. You know?
Yeah. That's pretty rare for you to say that. I feel like a lot of artists, I mean, because I interview artists every week pretty much, you know?
Yeah.
A lot of them don't be saying that. So that's interesting that you know, you see like the human side of it.
I mean, yeah, I think this life is short, so
Yeah.
make a good impression at least, you know?
I feel that. I mean, so I don't know if this was before Complex or after, but you did go to college for marketing, correct?
I did for advertising and marketing, yeah. My
Nice.
senior year, I dropped out.
Okay.
And then that college is giving me a
Honorary degree
in like a month.
That
I
is
gotta
so
go do
fire.
a speech for it. It's on Father's Day too, which is
Man.
like I'm hyped.
That is so
That's the only thing my dad cares about,
right?
Bro. Like, he doesn't care if I win a Grammy or nothing. Like, my dad,
you got your
when he heard the degree, he was like, yo, it's up. he was turned up.
I believe it because I also have immigrant parents.
Yes.
Mine are Pakistani, so it's a little bit different, but it's the same thing.
No, it's the same shit, man.
Yeah.
Like, the struggle is the same. Like, we all are in the same, you know.
Because you could go work with like the biggest, you could go work with Kendrick Lamar, but your dad's gonna be like, okay, but did you get your degree though?
Yes, yeah. If you told your doctor, you told your dad that you became a doctor, he'd be like, yo, shout out to you.
That's facts. No, I feel that, man. So when you dropped out, what was kind of the reason behind that? Was it because like your music blew up and you're like, I just don't have the bandwidth to do this?
Yeah. I literally was in a finance final, like my finance, like serious test, and I got an offer to get my first like gig, like paid, like thousands of dollars, which at the time, like now I look back at it, it's not that much, but like at the time that shit was all my financial aid money, and I couldn't turn it down, and I was just like, yo, I'm out of here, and I walked out, and I just never went back, and I only had like 40 credits left, so I was really in my senior year when I dropped out, so in my head, I graduated.
Yeah.
But not really.
I feel it, man. Well, you did a marketing degree. I'm curious, like, you know, I'm sure your parents were like cool with that because at the end of the day, marketing, yes, it's not being a doctor, but you're still doing something like educational, I guess.
Yeah, business.
Yeah, business. So how did you like kind of explain it to them? Because like for me when I did it, dude, that was like my heart was shaking to tell them I wanted to like not do school. So how'd you say that?
I didn't. Like I hid it from my father for a while. Like my father kind of heard about it a little here and there, but like I didn't even record, when I was recording music, didn't have a studio, I didn't have anything. I would just look for unlocked classrooms at my college and record there from like 9 p.m. to 3 a.m.
In just like a math classroom or
just
something?
in a math classroom. Okay. I recorded like Caroline in the fucking class.
That's insane.
Like literally because that was the only place I could record that was free, that I knew the custodians weren't watching those classrooms. I was like, cool, I'm locked in. And I was just recording myself. I didn't have any money, so that was the only way I could do it because I knew my parents, if they heard me recording in the crib, they was loud, they wouldn't let me do it.
Of course,
you know?
So you never were just recording and then the janitor came in one day and like...
that actually happened a few times. Yeah, it did. But I couldn't complain. It ain't
You're just
mine.
like, oh, I think I forgot my jacket here.
Yeah.
Yeah, I feel that, man. Well, so what's your advice to like a kid who's watching who is going through that same thing where, you know, they want to make music or do something in entertainment, but like maybe they got a couple credits left or, you know?
Do whatever feels right in your gut. I wouldn't do it based off of what other people are telling you to do because no one told me to drop out and no one told me to stay in school other than my father. I just kind of followed the path. Like when that first check came in for me, I was like, okay, this makes sense now. Like now I can like at least have a little bit of a backup plan because at the time I was using so much of my financial aid money to pay for things and I didn't know how I was gonna pay it back. And this is the way to pay it back. And I think like if you're kind of in that same position right now, I would just follow your gut and just do what your gut tells you to do, honestly.
That's fair. I mean, when you look at the music you were making at that time and then you like compare it to now, it honestly does feel like two different artists. You know?
Yeah.
But you can kind of still see the core like Aminé in there.
Yeah.
Branding wise. I actually think like from the start, your branding was insane.
Oh, I appreciate
from the
that,
start.
Man.
Like,
Dude, I saw your interview with Cole, man. That made me so happy when Cole gave me the shout out.
Yeah.
When it comes to creative direction and packaging and rollouts and merchandise and cover art and partnership, how he handles everything, and you feel him on a creative direction level, I put him in Tyler's tier.
Well, because people recognize things like that, bro. Like from the start, the colors, your color palette was like very like yellow and blue, and then I remember when you put out Limbo, that I was like, bro, I don't think I've seen any album like branded better than this, you know?
I appreciate that, man.
The green, the stretch letters, the tennis balls.
Yeah.
So let's get into it. Like, I want to know, like, how did you do that? Is it because you have this incredible team? Is it because you have this eye for design, or what is it?
I mean, I have a crazy like requirement for design when it comes to what we put out and what we do. There's like 50 versions of different logos. There's 50 versions of a different T-shirt. There's 50 versions of a different bandana. Like back there.
Yeah.
There's 50 versions of everything I'm doing for design-wise, and then I kind of ask all my friends and my managers and ask them what they like and just try to get those opinions in. Just because I think making those different versions is important to be able to tell which one's best. But from it, yeah, we have a crazy team. Bijan from Fisk Studios in Portland, Oregon.
Nice.
Nick Collini, who does a lot of it. Nick Holiday, I worked with a lot.
Oh, he's
too.
fire, yeah.
Nick Holiday's been my guy.
He does a lot of like Ken Carson stuff too. It's fire.
Yeah. Nick I've known since like 2017 before, like when Brockhampton was in South Central.
Right.
He has been a great guy, and yeah, just I have a great team of just people who help with the graphic design, but I'm kind of always creative directing and just trying to decide what's best for us. You know what I mean? I think I really hard on myself to make sure like every rollout and every merch we do or whatever we do is always better than the last. Just because I think that leaves an impression on people. You know, it should feel like it's always getting better rather than decreasing.
Yo, what up, y'all? Quick PSA, if you watch our channel, you probably make music yourself. I'm gonna assume a lot of you do. And to be an independent artist, you need a good distributor. My hands down pick, DistroKid. I mean, it's a no-brainer. A lot of the artists that we've interviewed have used DistroKid when they were first starting up. And yeah, I mean, getting your music on all the major streaming platforms is so easy with DistroKid, like Spotify, Apple Music, Tidal. You get unlimited uploads, but more importantly, 100% of your earnings, and you just pay a yearly fee. So all that to say, if you actually want to start building your community and fan base, A, put out your music, don't let it sit there. B, I would recommend using DistroKid. And C, I am gonna leave you guys a special link in the description if you want to just sign up today. Yeah, I hope you guys keep enjoying this interview.
I do think that sometimes there's artists that make such good music, man, and I'm just like the only one thing missing is like,
yo,
you know?
I know what you're about to say.
Right?
Yeah.
If you just had like if you just built like a little bit more of a world, like this would be out of here.
Dude,
you know?
up. It would go up. There's so many people with great music, but bad rollouts or a bad album cover or whatever it is. And I think when I'm like 40 plus, like I want to start an agency to just do that for other people.
Yeah.
And, just because now I'm too stressed out doing it for myself.
Yeah.
But I would love to do that for other people because I'm sure you see it always and you have ideas. So it's always that frustration.
Because there's certain things that you can't do for yourself, but you're like, I totally could see that on X artist.
It's always
you know?
easier to come up with ideas for other people than yourself sometimes. So it's funny.
That's what do you think was your favorite, just on the branding side of things, like your favorite album to brand and like the merch and like the logos and stuff?
I would say this new album, 13 Months of Sunshine, for me has been like some of my favorite merch we've ever done, just because it's a bit more on the mature side of things.
Agree, yeah.
Where with Limbo, I loved Limbo's merch and the design process of it, but we were so fucking limited with COVID, man. There was so many plans I had for Limbo that I couldn't do. I was like really depressed at the time because I had this entire like Rollout is my real sophomore album. I had a lot of things planned, and you know the dominoes fall how they do. So it's like you can't really control that shit. So for me with this new one, I was just so psyched to do like the fall, the spring Aminé fall winter tee, and just these funny things. I think there's got to be humor in some of that merch sometimes too, just because people always remember that shit.
No, they do. I think
even with like Carti doing like the vamp and that shit is iconic. I love when people like joke a bit about what they got going on.
Yeah,
you know?
like a little bit of humor to the point where it's not like corny or anything, but it's
not.
It's memorable.
No, it's memorable for sure.
I totally could have seen, I mean, it sucks that it was COVID, but like for Limbo, that you guys do like a tennis court pop-up or just some,
dude,
like, I'm sure that was like in the
so
works,
many
maybe.
plans, man.
Yeah.
Like, and another big requirement for me with merch, bro, like when a nigga has like an idea to just put my face on a tee only, I'm just like, I don't like, that's like pop star merch, you know, when they just plaster your photos. Yes, that will sell, but is that like interesting enough? Like my whole requirement is to be able for someone to ask like, whose merch is that? What is that? Without it blatantly saying like Aminé or whatever.
It's like way too on the nose,
Yeah, it should feel like a brand.
How does one find like a sick designer to work with, you know, when they don't have like a crazy insane budget? Like
yeah. I would say work with your friends. Like work with people who are literally on the same path as you. You kind of have to be fans of each other with the people that you work with in order to make like a good product. You know what I mean? And that goes with music too. Producers, art, every collaboration, you guys should kind of like each other. Or else,
of course,
or else it won't work.
Do you have like you gotta have like the sickest Pinterest mood board?
Bro, I just started a Pinterest a month ago. I ain't
Really?
never used, yeah, my mood boards I'm like making on Photoshop myself, or
Yeah.
like, you know, PDFs that I'm like putting together and stuff. Because I kind of, when I'm doing like a New Balance sneaker,
Yeah.
and I'm like, we're designing that shoe, I always put together like a PDF plan, and that's when I do the mood boards on there.
Interesting. Yeah, Pinterest is sick though, right? Like I'm sure now that you use it, you see how it's like,
So easy, yeah.
so
But
easy.
also like the craziest shit, not to even gas it up, but like AI is insane. When I'm doing like a treatment,
Yeah.
and I really want to describe like, okay, so like in Familiar, there's like 3 Ethiopian uncles in front of like a Toyota doing a skit, and we didn't have a reference for that shot, so we went into AI. We just like 3 Ethiopian uncles in a Toyota, and it made 3 uncles in front of a Toyota.
That's insane.
And it was insane. I was
Yeah.
just like, oh wow, we're cooked. Like
Yeah,
this is it's over. You know.
People are gonna be so mad when they see this.
I know.
Because some people hate AI.
I
Like,
know they hate it, and
yeah.
and I'm not saying I like love it, but I like that was crazy for me to witness that this like.
Yeah.
This you could just have a reference image rather than having to like dig for it.
Yeah.
It was kind of nuts.
No, that's
Yeah.
fair. For references, absolutely, I do see
I
why
think
that makes sense.
references wise, every director is kind of figuring it out even quicker now. They're building treatments because there's a lot of demand when people are like fighting to do someone's music video. They got to turn in that treatment
Quick,
in like 2 seconds. Yeah.
True, yeah. I guess if you just want to show people like a base of what this could look like,
Yeah.
instead of drawing the whole thing out yourself.
No, yeah, I'm not saying like make all your shit with AI, but
Yeah,
like
yeah.
if you need a little help, you know,
A little base, yeah.
yeah, don't
I
get
feel
left
that.
behind. You know.
Of course. You mentioned your shoe collab. I think, bro, that's insane. How does one get a shoe collab? Like, you know, like to run me through that. I'm curious.
I don't
And not just
even-
any shoe collab. Like a New Balance shoe collab is a big deal. You know?
Yeah, it was a huge deal. They reached out for about like an endorsement deal, like in 2021-ish,
Yeah.
and I personally, for me, like my requirement when I told my managers I was excited about it, I was just like, yo, I really want to do a shoe though. I don't want to be like a model only, and that was like the thing we talked about with them, and they were super down and super open to it, and it's been challenging just like trying to accomplish everything we've been trying to do with the music side of things and balancing out like doing full rollouts for sneakers. Just like my calendar system is like has to be really precise and detailed now. So it's been great. I just love making sneakers. When I was like 18 in Oregon, I was part of a whole like sneaker design program before I
no
started
way.
music. Yeah.
Tell me about that. Like, what did you guys do?
I was like in a whole like business program with a brand I definitely don't want to mention, but I was designing sneakers, and I won the competition, and they actually made my sneaker when I was like 18, and it was a big deal for me because I really wanted to do that.
Yeah.
I didn't really make music at the time, to be honest with you. I was just freestyling with my homies as a joke.
Yeah.
And so to be able to do this now feels like such a dream come true, because
Yeah.
I was just down to like design sneakers for other people, just because I love sneaker culture so
Yeah.
much. And just doing the rollouts for those is like doing a rollout for like an album, you know, it's
Definitely.
fun to do.
You got to send me that. I want to see later, like what shoe you designed when you're 18.
Oh yeah, I'll show it to you.
Yeah.
Easily. That's easy.
That's hard though, man. Cause I will say I mean, I love both, but
Yeah.
the banana one
Yeah.
is one of the best shoes I've seen, bro.
I appreciate that, man.
Like,
Yeah.
and I think it's cool because a lot of artists, when they do like brand collabs and stuff, like sometimes they don't have the leverage to tell the brand like, hey, let's do it this way and that way. You just do the collab and that's it. You get your bag, you know?
Yeah.
But I think with you is like you definitely got to pour like you into the shoe.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah,
it looks
that-
more like an Aminé shoe than like a New Balance shoe, if that makes sense.
No, I appreciate that.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, that was important for me. Like, I think when I looked at that first shoe and when we were coming into it, I was like, yo, I never get to see patent leather shoes at New Balance. I'm never getting to see that. We need to do patent leather full around. That was like my main requirement, begging for that, you know what I
Right.
mean? So I think if as much as you beg, man, they might give it to you,
Yeah.
you know?
Which is your favorite between the two colorways?
Probably the Mooz, the first one, the banana
Feel
ones,
that,
just
yeah.
because those are, they're brown, so
Yeah.
they just work with a lot more outfits than orange and blue.
That's true.
Yeah.
No, that makes sense. I do think like I was saying earlier, your sound matured a lot over time, right? And you have like different eras to you. And I think what's interesting is like when you made the album with Kaytranada, I personally did not understand house music. Like I'll just be honest, I didn't understand it. I was like always thought of it as like the oons music.
Yeah,
you know,
yeah.
because I'm just so used to like rap and R&B being like
Yeah.
cool, you know.
Yeah.
until I heard that, and I feel like that, like I think I heard Sossaup, and I was like, okay, I understand it now.
Yeah.
You know? So what was your thoughts going into like making an album that has a lot of house music in it, and like, did you always get it?
Yeah, I mean, like, me and Kay been working, I think a lot of people thought me and Kay did that album together based off of, like, just hype and just get people hella excited. But, like, I've been working with Kay since 2014. He gave me, like, some of my first free beats on a SoundCloud mixtape called Calling Brio. And that's when we first worked together. So it was, like, 10 years in the making, that album, for us. Just being able to really do it now at, like, the highest points of our careers. So... It was, yeah, I think house music and dance music, I've always been a fan of it.
It's funny, I know friends who like became fans of you like for the first time through that album.
Really?
I was like, oh, you know,
That's
he
fun.
like made like a bunch of music before, right? And they're like, oh yeah, but no, this album is crazy.
Yeah, it's fire.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think like every album is supposed to gain new fans. You know what I mean? Like when I hear that, I think that's amazing. That's super cool, you know?
What would you say to like a rap fan who's like a non-house fan to convince them to like house music?
It's kind of like you got to discover this shit on your own. Like when you heard Sossaup, you know, like that's your own experience that you built on your own. No one like forced it on you. Yeah. Where I think like that type of shit is important, real life experiences. When one of the homies who only likes rap music might go to Europe one day and go to a little house party. He sees a cute girl, he hears the music, he's like, it's not too bad. Like that might be his moment. You know?
Yeah, that's true. It's about what you experience. I know Skepta he had this one quote. It was like, if you're a fan of music, you're a fan of house music or something like that.
Yeah. No, real. I mean, that's for true music lovers. Sometimes though, people are passive music lovers too. Yeah. You can't really blame them for that. You know, the love for music is all on a whole different playing field for some.
That's fair. You mentioned experiences. It's funny because like I think 2 days ago on Sunday, wait, you're like big on like biking, right?
Yeah, here and there. I can't bike as much in LA. That's the thing that sucks.
Why not?
It's just hills. No one walks or bikes like that in LA. Everyone's driving. Yeah, but like when I'm in like Paris or New York, definitely biking like crazy.
That's interesting because I love to bike, and I think I read somewhere that you had this like crazy ass bike, like. It was like
the Van Moof?
Yeah,
I have one of those. Yeah, they're hard. Those are electric, man. Those are you don't really get a workout in that. That shit kind of lazy.
Yeah, I feel that. For me, the biking is not about getting a workout. It's about like you just get
riding.
Or like you go to like, for me in New York, I like to go to like new neighborhoods that I've never been in before. But instead of walking it like and actually putting in the work, like I'll just bike it, you know?
Yeah.
And the other day I was like, okay, I'm gonna go bike. I think it was like the East Lower. Just like the complete east side of New York.
Yeah.
I was like, let me take a bike. I'm gonna listen to the new Aminé album.
Oh, fire.
And I'll have to say like that out of like, cause whenever a new album comes out, I always bike and listen to it.
No, that's a fire experience.
It is. That might have been one of the best biking albums that I've listened to.
Fire.
Yeah. Like I don't know.
No, I like that requirement. That's hard.
I know you didn't make it for that.
No.
But I was listening to it and I was like, oh, this just like feels like
the tempos and you pedaling. It's like it makes sense. When I was starting it out, I kind of started working on it prior to KAYTRAMINÉ. So I was just looking at it like, okay, I'm 28 right now. And by the time this shit come out, I'm probably gonna be 30, 31. I can't really, like I should really think about my legacy at this point and how I want to be seen as like an artist. Just because I think making like a good rap song is easy for me at this point and it's fun to do. But I think I wanted to really challenge myself to be able to be like, can I songwrite? Can I really go in and write a verse that feels very intentional and dig a little bit deeper and just be a bit more honest on records? Because I think people really like that when you're honest, and I like it too. It feels like I get to connect and get to know an artist a lot better when they're just telling me the truth about how they feel about themselves or about the world or about their girlfriend, whatever it might be.
Yeah.
I think like honesty is something, you know, sometimes when it's lacking, you really notice it. And I was really trying to make sure that people didn't notice me lacking honesty.
No, you know? and I agree. And I think it was like the most emotional album I've heard by you because I think It's You and History, I think are the two best songs for sure.
Fire. No, I love that. Yeah, that's hard.
For sure.
It makes me happy hearing you say that. Every time someone tells me their favorite songs, it's always been different. Yeah, like I don't hear History as much, or I hear it a lot. Like it's, I like hearing this, you know what I mean? It feels good.
I bet that's a good feeling as an artist.
Yeah, it feels really good.
I think it's so ill that you had your dad narrate the album.
I did.
But for different reasons, you know?
A lot of different reasons.
Yeah.
Like the immigrant side of things, too, is very relatable and important to every culture, no matter if you're Ethiopian, I think like you really understand what it's like to be that American kid with the immigrant parent and how they. I really wanted people to hear how my dad sounds.
Yeah.
Rather than just like hearing him say things, you know what I mean? I thought that part was really important.
I think it's important, and also I think it was so ill because it's sick when you know the context of it, because you have older songs when you know you've like touched on how you weren't as close with your dad, you know?
Yeah.
And I'm curious, like throughout this one, it does seem like you guys are really close, you know?
I think it's just me getting older. Like I think me and my dad used to butt heads a lot just because he was like, be a doctor, be a lawyer, don't do music. Are you crazy?
Yeah.
And now, like, we went on a couple vacations together. He's like, I love this rap shit. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So me and my dad now, like, yeah, we're smoking weed together sometimes. Like, it's just, my dad's becoming sort of like my best friend now.
Yeah.
And it feels really good just because I want to be able to cherish those moments and be able to, you know, have them on my album. Because I think in like 20 years, like when everything's said and done, like I feel like getting to hear my father on a record 20 years later is going to feel really, really good. I kind of put my dad on 13 Months of Sunshine for myself. He didn't even know he was on the album until the day it came out.
That's cool.
Yeah,
That's mad cool.
and I was kind of asking my sister, I was like, yo, like, I mean, we got to get the approval. Like, we got to get him to sign the thing to like be on the songs. And she was like, this nigga not gonna sue you. You know
Your dad suing you?
She was like, he don't know how to sue.
Yeah.
Which is really funny. So if y'all see like a headline, Aminé's dad sues him, like shit, it might happen. My dad might troll me to do that.
I feel that. I mean, I think it's interesting because, so I'm like the youngest, right, in my family, and I sometimes do like feel guilty where I'm like, oh, well, I moved to New York and I'm chasing my career, but then,
you feel a little selfish inside
yeah,
sometimes.
I'm just like, oh, like this time that I'm spending like advancing my career, I could be spending with my old parents who are aging.
Yeah.
Do you ever feel that way? And like
100%.
Yeah.
100%. I feel like that like fucking all the time. I'm guilt tripping myself with every tour and every trip I have to do where I'm just like, yo, you know, when I'm back in Portland and I'm like hanging out with my parents, that's when I feel the most like complete and the most, I like need to have that at least every few months. And yeah, it's just like, and my dad's gonna definitely guilt trip me. My dad's gonna always like every other day is gonna send a photo from like a vacation we went on, like, yo, miss y'all. Like that's just our relationship. So not getting to see them, it always kills me at times. Yeah.
How much of like Ethiopia did you pour into the album? Because like I don't know if I mean, I don't know much about your culture, but I like when I see the cover art and I'm like, I definitely think that you poured some of like your culture into it.
Yeah. I mean, a lot of the designs for the merchandise and the name itself, 13 Months of Sunshine, is like the slogan of the country Ethiopia. They go by a 13-month calendar. Like they're in the year 2017 right now.
Wait, what's the 13th month called?
The 13th month's called Pagume.
I had no clue.
Yeah, it's this whole thing where the 13th month, the reason I called it 13 Months of Sunshine is because the 13th month represents a time for new growth. I think like at the time for Good For You and Limbo, I was just trying to like really get people to get to know Aminé first. And then now I feel like I could really introduce them to where I'm really from. And yeah, even with the cover, like that shit is supposed to feel like my auntie's crib. The poster that's on the album cover is like a poster I grew up seeing since I was like 3 years old. Like that poster is like in every Ethiopian kid's parents' crib. Like it's a very known poster. So there's a lot of like references that feel like only if you know kind of thing. And I really want to do that for our people, like where like they would recognize it, but the world would just think it's like cool.
I know for Pakistani uncles, like they be wearing like the flip flops with the toes out, and I'm like, oh, is that what they do?
That's the same shit too, bro. Like there's a lot of things that like our cultures are definitely overlapping. With. Yeah,
interesting.
We're like flip flops. Nah, we need more unk shit. We need more unk shit.
That's funny. I think isn't it kind of crazy to look back and be like, because sometimes even I forget that like, yo, you were on like the 2017 XXL, like what was it, almost like 8 years ago or something? You ever like reflect back on that and be like, yo, like look how much I changed?
Yeah, I mean, I look at that and I'm always so happy to be a part of that. I think that was like the era of just like everyone just building out their careers. You know what I mean? Like it was just sick to see, and it also makes me happy to be on it because I got to meet a lot of great artists before they passed away too, you know, on that cover. And I think it's just sad. Like when I look at that cover, sometimes it's like hard to like look at times too, because just like death in hip hop is like a really sad thing to see people gonna go through nowadays. It it feels too normal almost. You know what I mean? So I'm just lucky. I'm really lucky to be here. That's like every time I see that, I'm just like grateful.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
If you fast forward now and you look at the people on it, like Carti is like voice of the youth.
hardest, man.
Yeah. Obviously PNB Rock and X, like two legends.
Yeah.
A Boogie like did his thing, especially in New York.
Of course.
Do you ever look back and like, have you ever talked to those people and been like, yeah, remember when we were like on that cypher?
Bro, no, not really. But I seen like Carti like 2 months ago with Nick Holiday, and he was just like, "What up, twin?" And I really wanted to throw up YVL, but I was like, maybe I shouldn't.
Yeah.
It was funny. LA's
Concerts.
like, yeah, you be seeing everybody everywhere. You know what I mean? It's kind of like this hub of music. It's just like you run into artists here and there, and it feels really good. New York is the same way too, though. You run into actually New York is too fun, bro. I could not live here because I feel like I run into too many people here, and everyone's grabbing drinks. Everyone's like a passive alcoholic, bro. It's like that
would ruin your life.
Yeah, it's real life. They're like, drink, and I'm like, I don't know, man.
Yeah, I feel that. I think XXL Cypher was really like a way to find like who the new artists are, right? I will say like over time, you know, like it's sort of changed. What's your way now of finding like the new artists?
I mean, that's a good question. I think like I just find it through word of mouth a lot too. Like when anytime like a homie of mine is like, yo, listen to so and so, I'm like, okay, sick. That's like my favorite way of finding music. But sometimes I find a lot of music too, just on my own, just based off of YouTube or me, cause like I'll like roll a joint when I get home after a long work day or some shit, and I'll just be in bed on my projector, just like on YouTube, just like watching shit fried. You know what I mean?
Well, take my recommendation on this. You might have already heard, but you should listen to Jim Legxacy.
I listen to Jim Legxacy.
Okay, he's
I love Jim
sick,
Legxacy.
yeah.
Father,
Yeah.
all that shit. Yeah, like he's hard. I've known about him though before Father.
Okay, bet.
Yeah, he had a tape before that too. That was incredible. He produces a lot as well. He's fire.
Interesting, because I just thought like you guys' like worlds kind of overlap. So I was like, I wonder if Aminé knows Jim Legxacy.
Yeah. When I definitely like want to work with him. As soon as I get to London, I think like I'm gonna hit him up.
Do that. Interesting. Well, hey, bro, I appreciate your time. I think if you got to put one thing I gotta say. You got to put the Charli XCX remix somehow on Spotify.
Dog, man, if she'd approve it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yo, she's got to see this because that might be your hardest song.
Nah,
today.
It was fun doing that freestyle.
Yeah.
It was very like Lil Wayne vibes.
Definitely, I feel that. Hey, bro, well, I appreciate it, man, and congrats on everything, and just
Thank you,
bro, keep being so like intentional with your music.
I appreciate that, dude.
Yeah.
Thank you so much.
Thanks for coming on the show,
dude.
dude.
Thanks for having me.
Aminé, kids take over.
Yo, thank you guys for watching that Aminé interview. Definitely someone I've been wanting to sit down with for a while. If you watch the old Cole Bennett interview, I talked about him, and I just appreciate him as a overall creative. You know, I think he's a real genius, and yeah, I hope you guys liked it. If you did, hit subscribe on the channel or hit like and comment, because those things, they help a lot, trust me. I got some really underground stuff for you guys coming up soon, so just stay tuned on the channel, and I'll see you guys next week.